In a world where equality is just another euphemism for mediocrity, where participation is more highly valued than achievement, where just enough to get by is the new standard of excellence, there is a small minority of people who fight back against such apathy, who struggle daily to reach new heights. These brave few are the hope for the future, the bright shining light for the next generation. They are the ones who will lead us to the places we have never dreamed of, to the undiscovered country, to reach goals only a few can even begin to imagine. Unfortunately, none of those people could be here tonight, so kick back and relax. Prepare yourself for several hours of fun, friendship, fascinating conversation, and fabulous music. All those F's, that's an alliteration and kind of a radio trick. Speaking of radio, you're listening to the most popular radio station in the history of broadcast radio, at least among stations that originate from Chris's living room. It's Curious Times. Your host is a curious listener. Here she is, Chris.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Curious Times. It's Monday, June 18th. Dianna Monroe is here tonight, and looks like she's standing by on the telephone line. She's hanging on the telephone. Okay. And just to update real quick, I just got a notice from Lisa. She was going to be here tomorrow. I've been really having not good luck. So Friday I got stood up. Saturday I got stood up. Yesterday Amy got sick and left. Diana's here today and Lisa's not coming tomorrow. So out of 5 days, that means 1.5 guests. 1.5 guests. 1.5 out of 5. That's not good. But it is what it is. So then we're off for a couple days, and then Silva's going to hopefully be here, and then Corinne's going to be here, and then we're off for another couple of days. And I have to figure out something to, what we're going to do moving forward here. If I'm going to, it's so much effort to go and find new people and all of that kind of thing, and so we'll just see what happens with it. Okay, guys? Jenny's been hard at work trying to change a couple things on her end. All of those problems were my problems because of the voice meter mixer that I use and having to delete it and uninstall it and reinstall it. All my other old settings got lost. I know that I had bit rates and what's that other word, latency and all of this kind of stuff that I had to really fiddle around with before and not just use default settings, and all of that was lost, and I had not thought about that in the first place. And so one other easy fix that I tried, I realized and recalled that with the voice meter, you've got to make sure that all of your sound devices that are streaming through the voice meter all are set to the same quality. And so I had a couple that weren't, some that were at 48,000 hertz, some that were at 44.1. And so I got them all set to the same, and hopefully that will go a long ways to fixing some of the issues, but it might be that I have to still fix some of the latency, the bit rate stuff. It's a little complicated because, of course, all of the music that I have from various sources is not all saved in the same bit rate, you know what I mean? And so that could possibly be complicating things a little bit. Anyway, that's not your problem, it's mine. Maybe tomorrow I'll spend a little bit of time. Hopefully Michael will be here tomorrow because he kind of knows the program, and he'll know what I'm doing. And, I like to have some live people. The only way I can do that without setting up a test show and then running a little thing, changing a setting, run a little bit of a thing, stop it, wait for it to process and upload, then go back and listen and watch it. And then if I have to go back to the drawing board, I got, and so it's a lot easier if I have a live audience. So I can just on the fly make the changes and see what's working with instant feedback and save a lot of time and trouble with that. So maybe we'll make some use of tomorrow night doing that, which means it'll be a non-recorded. Maybe I'll bust out some of the old clips that we used to always have fun with, and it's been forever since we listened to the phone call with the alien and everything like that. Some of you guys from the old days will remember those. So maybe we'll bring some of those on. Have some music. Check out some of the songs. I'll try and remember some of the songs that were really not working well before, and see if those sound any better as we adjust some settings here. So anyway, Dianna's here. She's a paranormal investigator, psychic, medium. She's a healer. She does past life regressions. Why doesn't somebody call in and do a past life regression? Come on, you guys. That would be interesting, and it would eat up a chunk of time. You know what I mean? And she's done all kinds of different kinds of training and studying, and you can find out everything you want to know, and then some by going to her website. Hopefully that's up. I didn't double check it today, but www.psychicfrontier.com. And so let's just go get Dianna and find the heck out what's going on. How you doing, Dianna?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So, what's new? How's your weather? Hot?
Yeah, it was really hot, although Friday night I was in one part of Nebraska. It was 112 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I was going to an event in Colorado, and then the next two nights it was like between 67 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was like perfect for in that area in the valley. But, yeah, otherwise I came back here and it's hot and humid again.
Oh, my God, I think that I would die. You know what I mean? If I had to live in 112. Of course, I don't have air conditioning, and so that would complicate things. It's been a little warm. Didn't check the temperature, but just less than 7 days ago, my furnace kicked on. So you know what I'm saying? It's unfair when that happens in June. So have you had any activity going on? Any investigations? Anything interesting happening on the paranormal?
It's really quiet along that front, and I'm not sure how to get that going again. You know. I'm still hoping there's one woman that will still want her house checked out, but I don't know. A lot of people are gone right now. I found a lot of people on vacation just the last week or so.
Yeah.
Or they're going on vacation when I want to schedule an event, that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would think that the indoor stuff is best for winter. You know what I mean? Because people are kind of usually more homebodies at winter. But anyway, everybody's a little bit different. You should still really try to just go find where's the nearest. Just go and do a little experiment on your own and I have only this morning been using my mic to do some recording, so it can't be my end. And the same was happening the other day. I've just tested all the mics when I've logged in, but nothing is working. Okay. I wish that I could do a share screen. Let me try and walk. So what I'm going to finish my little idea there, though. I think I've mentioned it before, but I just think that you should visit the nearest. Just go. Don't make appointments or anything. Just go and go to a nearby cemetery and just go and walk through and see what you can pick up, just with your own intuition and then pay particular attention to maybe looking for old ones that have been buried there for a long time, and then really try to focus and see and then ask yourself, using whatever method would work best for you, is this body laid to rest here? Because as I mentioned before, a lot of those cemeteries, they'll move all the headstones and not bother moving the bodies, you know?
That's wonderful.
I know, right? It should be illegal. Now, let me just quickly diverge here. And so when you guys come on, I'm going to open up first of all, what browser are you using? I'm going to try and do something here. Copy. I'm going to open into No, I can't. So I'm going to open into, and I don't know what I'm going to do about this. There's probably going to be all kinds of double feedback and all kinds of crazy bad stuff going on. I'm going to try and join the room. Okay, so now I join the room. So now follow along with me, and I can't watch the chat room right now, Rachel. So first thing I get is run Adobe Flash. It's asking me to do that. So I got to click and give it a yes. And to remember this. So allow Adobe Flash, and very good. I'm using Firefox for this exercise. Now we're loading the show for you. Very good. So now, as it does all of that, poof, microphone, listen only, or telephone. Okay? So now if I choose the microphone option, what's going to happen is we're going to get all kinds of bad, crazy, terrible feedback. I'll walk through that in a second. The other option that you have, Rachel, if you do have Skype, is just to click that Skype button. If you know how to bring up your own dial pad, then just click that Skype button, and it's just a free Skype to Skype call. And when it prompts you for the show number, you got to punch in the 70011. So that's like a fallback option to get a free call into the show if the browser one is not working. So now we have the microphone. So we're going to click the microphone. And now I'm getting on Firefox is prompting me, will you allow broadcasting IntuiTalks to use your microphone, yes or not? And it's showing me here a list of possible microphones that I could use. So I'm just going to go with the default one that's there, and I'm going to say allow. Okay, now it's okay, look at that, it's already working. I can hear myself and blah, blah, blah. This is a private test. Did you hear the audio? Yes, I did. Okay, now we have. Hang on. Okay. So there. Okay. Google Chrome. Okay, ask you to allow which do I. Okay, and you said you've tried them all though, right? I choose Mike. No, I don't have Skype. Maybe I should try. Well, wait a second, because there's another thing that you can do. So, are you using a Mac by any chance, or just a regular computer, like a poor man's computer? Although some of those are expensive too, but a regular computer. Okay, so along the bottom system tray, yes, you have. You know what the system tray is, right? That pops up, or it's there always. It depends on your setting. Okay. So on your, you'll see over beside the clock, like to the left of the clock or so, you should see a little picture of a speaker. And what I want you to do is right-click on that. And I got a little fruit fly that's been hounding me all day. I can't get that little sucker. Okay. So right-click on the sound. So let me start over because the fruit fly interrupted me. So right-click on the sound on the speaker, and then choose sounds. Okay. Okay. So it gives you a pop-up window. Yes. Gives you a pop-up window with all your with different sound stuff. I'm just gonna wait for. Okay. I think you said yes. Okay. So now we'll go to the playback first of all. Isn't that interesting? Oh, that's because that. Okay. So I'm going to. So on the recording tab, do you see the recording tab? See like that? It's not working there. Isn't that interesting? Okay, that's okay. Okay. So now just speak. Just like speak out loud. Don't worry, we can't hear you. Only your husband or your neighbors or whoever, your cat or somebody can hear you. So do you see the green bars moving on any one of the options that are there showing you your microphones? Is the lines are moving beside just one or beside two? Like, do you have a built-in webcam and it's moving there, and also beside your Realtek high definition audio microphone? Yes. Waiting. I want to know, is it beside just one or beside? Okay. And that's beside just one, right? Beside one? Or is there more than one? More than one. So take note of which one. So which one is set as your default device? So it's moving on more than one. So is it like your Realtek high definition audio is one of them, correct? Okay. And then on the other one, is it like your headset mic, or is it like is it a different microphone? Is it I don't know which one it would be. But, so those are two working. Basically, what that's telling you, though, no. Okay, I'd like you to tell me it's moving beside two. You said there's two listings where you have the green bars moving. Yes. Okay, just the mic. Okay, so that's the microphone that you know that there's sound working in. We know that. 2 bars. Okay, I don't understand 2 bars. I don't understand that. Do you mean it's going up 2 bars? Or do I have to take a picture? Like, let me take a picture. I'm going to go la 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 la. Okay. And I had to do that because I want to show you what I meant by 2. So paste, and then we're going to go with the crop. This is one thing I really love about IntuiTalks. We can do like on the fly tutorials. We'll go crop, and we'll go file, save as, and I'll just call it microphones. Mics working, green. Okay, and we're going to put that in the IntuiTalks folder, save, and close. And then I'm going to close this. I'm going to upload this. Select file. What did I call that? Mics working. Mics. Mics working. Open. Upload. Okay. Sorry, Diana. I'll be trying to make this as fast as I can. My guess is that that Rachel would like to call in. You know what I mean? This is why. So now you see here. See this microphone has green, and then this microphone has green. So that's what I meant. Did you have 2 different ones that were showing green, or were you trying to just tell me that your one is working and it went 2 bars? Oh, it goes up 2 bars. Okay. So maybe number 1 thing is you need to turn that up a bit, because it should go a little bit louder than that. It's not hearing. It's probably not hearing. So I would go back to those sound settings and go into the recording, and then I would double click on the microphone beside the one that goes green. Not 2 different ones. I only have of the mic. Okay, I don't know what you mean. I'm assuming you're trying to tell me you have one microphone there that is activating green, and it's only lighting up 2 bars on that one graph, right? It's only lighting up 2 bars, right? No, I understand. I know I have 2. I'm talking about you, okay? So now, you're trying to tell me it's only going up to 2 bars, right? Okay. Forget about me. Forget about that. Just pretend that all you have is this here microphone, and it's going up 2 bars, okay? Going up 2 bars. Okay, so let's double check on that one, and then let's like open up that sound again and double click on it, double click on that microphone, okay? And that's going to open up your settings, okay? And go to levels, and just see, like, make sure that it's boosted. If you have it boosted, 20 decibels is good to boost it. If you have that option, that's a good option to choose. And so that's fine. We'll do that. So now you're going to call in, and it's going to say, too bad I closed that. So now you're running. Okay, good. So now you're going to go through that sound test, and like it's gonna say I think in Chrome it doesn't start right away with speak some words. I think the first thing it does on Chrome, give me a minute to go through the sound test. All I'm asking is, like, as you go through it, before you do anything or click anything, unless you hear yourself through the speakers, like through your headset, don't do nothing. Just tell me about it. Okay. Sorry, Dianna. I'm trying to get us a caller. And so, and this might help some other people as well. Once you get it, it's good. Once you get that, it's good. And so I'm just going to wait for the feedback to find out. So now she's got the sound out. She's coming back. She's trying to run the sound test now. And she's coming around the bend. Come on, I think you can. I want to know what's happening. What's happening, Rachel? She can't hear me now because she's running the test. Do. Okay. I just don't want to get into a conversation and then be interrupted with it. So it's just like I hate like having dead air is all. So I'm just going to have to keep going do, and and have riveting, exciting radio for the YouTube broadcast. Okay, how could it be taking this long? By now she should be Okay, she has the headset back on, so the microphone didn't work. Okay, I wanted you to not do I wanted you to tell me as you were doing it. If it wasn't working, I wanted you to type into the chat room what was going on before you know what I mean? Oh, I see. Okay, you can't type. Okay, well, it's doing that. So tell me then what's happening. You get the drop-down list and you choose that microphone. I'm having this great big feeling like that there's a thing missing, which is where you give so it's asking you to give permission to IntuiTalks to use your microphone, and you say yes, right? Okay. Then it asks you you're on Chrome. So then does it ask you if you see the bar moving when you talk? And then you say no? Trying to think one other. It asks you to talk into your mic. And can I just ask the stupidest question? And then I can't hear it, so I click no. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the stupidest question, because it sounds stupid because your green bar shouldn't be lighting up on your sound settings, but there's no mute or unmute option on your microphone, and it doesn't happen to be muted, right? Yeah, the only other thing I'd say is plug it and unplug it. But again, if it's showing you green on your sound settings, if it's showing you green, then it's working. So like I don't understand why for you this is not working. Do you have a thing beside your microphone in your sound settings that say that this is your default and your default communications device? Like this, is there a green round circle somewhere beside that microphone that battery dead? I unplug and replug. Sometimes I plug them in the wrong way and then fix it like I did this morning when I was on it. Okay, that's fine, but it was working and it's working. It's obviously working because it's registered. That's why I had you go to the sound settings, which is showing you the green bars, and so it should be theoretic. Your system is receiving the sound from you. When I talk, it's lighting up all the green bars. Yeah, my computer asked me if IntuiTalks can use it. I allow it. Right, I've asked her that, and she says yes, Sherry. It asked for her permission to use the microphone. So I'm just like really trying to. If you get you should get, because it says, what do you want to do, Mike? Listen, right? Okay. Well, that's the very first thing. But after you click Mike, it should say, do you give permission to IntuiTalks to use? And do you get that message, right? After you click microphone, right? Pretty sure I click allow. I'm pretty sure you do too. So I would only be able to tell you to download Skype. It's free and it's quick to set up. And then at worst comes to worst, you can try Skype. But if worst comes to worst, then at a time what's good for you and good for me, we can have a Skype call together, a private Skype call. You can share your screen with me as you walk through that process and see if there's anything that I can figure out about it, what the deal is. You know what I mean? That would be about the only thing I can think of. What the heck? You're on a computer, blah, 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 so it shouldn't be, I don't understand besides that. So I would try and get Skype at your earliest convenience. And you can test calling in on Skype, and then also, but I'd still like to solve your browser problem. You know what I mean? I would still like to solve that for you, and I don't know why. Oh, she can't hear me. I'm talking, and she doesn't. She has left the building to redo the sound test. All that stuff I just said was wasted days and wasted nights. Okay. Hey, Rachel's sound is back. I was talking away to you, Rachel, like a crazy woman, and then I realized your sound was off. So, I would recommend that you get Skype at your earliest convenience. Try a Skype call, and even if you get that to work. Oh, now there is something there. Okay. Okay. So, yes. So it says, should you use Flash? And you should say yes. Yes. And you said yes. Yes. And it still didn't work. And then that is where the mic doesn't work. Okay. So let's go. So we're not getting anywhere. And without me being able to see your setup, like, I can't help at all. So here's what I think you should do. You should get Skype at your earliest convenience. Next time, try a Skype call in. And even if you can get a Skype call in, one of these days when we're both available at the same time, I'd like to do a private Skype call with you and have you share your screen with me as we walk through that process. And then I could see if I can notice something. I doubt it, but I mean, we can try. You know what I mean? And so it's really quick and simple to get Skype, and free and everything else like that. And so at your own leisure, go ahead and try that. And for now, I'm sorry that we couldn't get you working. I see Boo Boo's listening in on the phone, and 360, I think that's Amy. So hope you're feeling better, Amy. Now back to Dianna, and so they're sorry about that. I thought we could get her up and running because I think she's the one that called in with that excellent paranormal experience from before, and that was really nice. We like it when our callers do that. So what do we got to talk about then tonight, Dianna?
Well, I was kind of wondering if there's anyone interested in talking about time travel, that possibility, or questionable experiences people have had regarding that.
Sure, that's a great idea. Of course, we probably won't be able to get anyone to call, but if anyone, oh, I see Sherry has her mic there. If any of you guys want to pop in, just unmute your damn selves, or let me know in the chat room that you have something to share with us. I can say to you that the strangest thing did happen one time for me. And that didn't involve any drugs or anything like that, or passed out drinking or lost time that way. But like I managed to make like an 8.5 hour trip, like an over 800-kilometer trip in 5 hours. And when you do the math, I would have had to been doing 160 kilometers an hour all the way through, or something like that, which I wasn't, and was impossible to do. And so somehow there, I don't know how that happened. You know what I mean? And I wasn't wrong about when I left and when I came home or any of that. I factored in the time change, everything. Because I was just like, oh, how can that be? That has to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like it can't be that. Yeah. It's impossible. So because I was like 3 hours difference. You know what I mean? This is impossible. This is impossible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that was.
Is there a reason it helped you to get there that much earlier?
No, it's always easier to save 3 hours. You know what I mean? But
right.
It's always a good deal to save 3 hours. But no, it just was absolutely. Even if it was a time change error on my part in the calculation, that's still 2.5 to 3 hours. You know what I mean? Because if you take an 800 and some odd kilometer trip, and the speed limit's 100 kilometers an hour, and then you factor in that there's several little towns that you have to go through, that you have to slow down for, that you have to stop and go pee, and then you have to get gas, and then you factor in all of those things, it's impossible. You know what I mean? Impossible. Right. There's no way that you could get away with traveling 160 kilometers an hour all the way through every little town and not get picked up on once by the cops. You know what I mean? Like somebody would be like calling the RCMP or something like that. So I tried every which way I could to figure out, like, I must have calculated something wrong. I must have done something, but it didn't. It wasn't, and I was like totally like. 3 hours I went 3 hours faster. And so that was the strangest thing. I've heard, and I can't remember how it goes, like there's, I don't know, witches or vampires or something like this that like they call it blinking. And so, and I can't remember, like, if you want time to go slower, in other words, like, it's like the opposite. So if I want a 3 hour chore to only take 1 hour, right, then I think I want to slow down time.
Right.
Right, I want to slow down time. And then the opposite is true. Like, if I want something to last a lot longer, then I think I want to speed up. I don't know. I get all confused at that, but I've never really been able to purposefully manipulate time that I've been aware of. You know what I mean? So there's that. I mean, there's people who, they lose time. They get hypnotized by the road when they're doing the same road every day and that. And so there's lots of times where you kind of like, you zone out or something, and then you get home and you're all like, I don't even remember the last, this portion of the trip or what. Like, there was one time I was coming home from Calgary, and what was happening was that I was coming up and I was racing to get home. It's a 3 hour trip, and the speed limit's like 110 kilometers an hour on most of that road, and so you do a little under 120, right? You know what I mean? You're allowed to speed by 10, hey? No, officer, I wasn't speeding. Yes, officer, the speed limit is 110. I was only going 119. That's not speeding. Along the way, there was a cop. You know what I mean? In front of me. So I said to myself in my mind, as long as I stay behind this cop, I can't get a speeding ticket, right? And then all of a sudden, now in between Edmonton and Calgary is a city called Red Deer. And when you're coming home from Calgary, there's along the road, to stay on the main highway and bypass Red Deer, you would stay on the main highway. And if you want to go through Red Deer to get gas or Tim Hortons coffee or something like that, then you carry on straight and now you're on like Highway 2A instead of Highway 2. And so I wake up, I shouldn't say wake up because I was awake the whole time theoretically. I'm in the middle of Red Deer. There's no cop anywhere, and I'm at like a red light in Red Deer. I'm like, what in the world? How did I get here? What is going on? I was like blown away. So I was like, I must have been hypnotized by the road, and I had like pre-hypnotized myself to stay as long as behind the cop, and I must have followed the cop into Red Deer, and then the cop probably, turned left somewhere along the ways, and suddenly I woke up and go, oh, there's no cop in front of me, and I'm in the middle of Red Deer. It could be worse. I could have wound up, some other crazy place that I really wasn't intending to go to, you know what I mean? But for me, that was like very spooky, very spooky.
That is wild. Did anyone else experience this with you?
No, I was alone, of course, Yeah. Because if I wasn't alone, I would have been talking, and I would have been, more engaged in everything. You know what I mean? I think it's easier for you to get hypnotized. I mean, you're a hypnotist. You're kind of a hypnotist. If you do past life regression, part of that process is hypnotism of some kind, yes?
Yeah, you've got to get in that relaxed state and help the person wanting to get in their memory bank get in that relaxed state so they can see what they want to see.
Yeah. And so you kind of get that. So that's where I went to. I must have, those were back in the days that I, smoked a little bit of weed here and there, And so it's quite possible that I was a little bit high. And just whatever. I just told myself, stay behind this cop and you can't get a ticket. And then I must have went on autopilot. You know what I mean? I don't really mean autopilot, but I mean my subconscious must have that's crazy though, because I drove a long ways without being what do you call consciously aware. That's scary.
That is wild. How'd you feel when you recognized you got there so quickly? I mean, was it just startling, or was it really kind of a, eye-opener, or it caused you to do some type of work or something in terms of your intuition?
No, that time, after the police story here where I told you that I woke up in the middle of this town, this was a different trip. You know what I mean? A different trip. And this wasn't one where I made remarkable time. But in that case, in a way, I lost some time there. You know what I mean? I don't know where I was during that time, is what I mean. So that was kind of strange. And when I, like I said, when I was at this red light, and I'm all then I kind of snapped in or whatever. I'm all what the hell? And that took me a minute to realize I was in Red Deer, and I must have followed the cop into Red Deer instead of staying on the highway to go to Edmonton. I'm like, damn cop, why weren't you on your way to Edmonton? You know what I mean? I would still be on the highway to Edmonton if it weren't for you, police officer, you. But I felt a little bit at first, very disoriented, right? I wasn't where I expected to be. I didn't, I meant to be on the highway going to Edmonton, and I don't know how. I had no recollection of how I ended up in the middle of Red Deer, is my point. And no recollection at all for most of that, from the time I was noticing that I was behind this cop until I came to the stoplight in Red Deer. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't present during that trip. You know what I mean?
Mhm. That's wild.
And obviously safely driving, right? Like, so shows you how automated we are as human beings, right?
Very much so.
Yeah, automated. So, but aside from that time travel thing, like I don't know if like I love all those shows that deal with it, and this whole notion that time doesn't even exist anyways. So all we have to do is, I guess, escape this. I always say the white man created time so that he could, for you to punch your clock for working purposes and paying purposes. You know what I mean? White man created time or something like that. Then we get indoctrinated by time, right? By the concept of time. It just becomes part of, at a certain time of year, I look outside and I go, I can pretty much say, well, it must be about 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? I could tell you that it's so much ingrained in us that programming of time, the concept of time. I was on a trip to go up north, and of course, as you know, the more north you go in the summertime and the closer you are to June 21st, the longest day of the year, when the sun doesn't set up there, way up there, I was in my hotel room on the computer, blah, 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 and it was still like about as light outside as it is right now. And, like to me, that means 9 o'clock or something like that, eh? And I finally looked at the clock. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm all like, I got to get up in a couple of hours. What the fuck is going on, right? And I'm all like, I gotta get to bed. Oh my God, how did this happen to me? And all them hours, just lost because I was programmed to base it off of, how light or dark it was outside.
Yeah, it's definitely a mind trip with the sun and everything.
So all we have to do is, I wonder if all we have to do is escape that programming, and now you have control over time. Or there is no time.
Too.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we even program like it would take me 10 minutes to do that walk. You know what I mean? Or so we programmed ourselves as to. So time is it's why I get all tripped up when I'm all like, we should talk, instead of past lives, we should talk about other lives, because if there's no past, present, and future, and everything is now, then every life we're ever living is all being lived right now, just on different dimensions.
Yep.
And so the mastering time travel is simply then mastering and being able to dial in a very specific dimension. Because otherwise you're in a crapshoot of where you're going to land, right?
Right. The power would be controlling it, where you're going. Like if all of the lives are running simultaneously, being able to choose which one you want to go focus on for a while.
Right.
Then coming back to the one currently,
Yeah. So it's an interesting, I don't know, because in all the shows and that, they're showing us that it's like taking a machine to do this. You know what I mean? And I'm not so sure that it's really a machine that would do it. If you know what I'm saying, eh?
Oh, to get you to make that transformation to that other life or that other time, yeah.
Yeah, like to jump, And
careful to go back in the current one and maybe make some different choices. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. So, you know what I mean is I don't know if it's a machine that gets us there or if it's our own. If it's not unlike when we talk about the speed at which molecules are moving in any one thing. The speed in this pencil, it's a solid item, and so the speed of these molecules is going very slowly. The speed of the molecules in this is very slow because it's solid. And if I take this liquid and I slow down the molecules, the speed of the molecules, it becomes ice, which means it becomes solid. And if I speed them up even more than they are, because it's liquid now, it becomes vapor. It becomes vapor, like on the vaping thing. Okay. Now, so I always say, like, now I could pass through this wall one of two ways. Then, with that theory in mind, I either figure out how to change the speed of the molecules of that wall and make the molecules in that wall move much faster so that it becomes vapor, and then I could pass through it, or I find a way to change the speed of the molecules in me so that I can pass through. I still don't know how I could pass through the wall myself, but you get my point, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering if time travel has a little bit to do with that. In a way, it was like with Star Trek or whatever, right? Like they would go into that unit and it would like disassemble them basically and then reassemble them elsewhere, yes?
Right.
And so I feel that in a sense, that's what it was doing, is like instead of disappearing, it was just like speeding up their molecules so that they became vapor, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if being able to do that would aid in time travel at all either. Is that how, or do we only when we astral travel? We're jumping into a different dimension, I think. Right?
I think so too. I think we are too when we're jumping time. If we're going to a place that's no longer, I mean, it is the here and now, but it's the here and now that's other than the one we're at right now. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think some people might get it.
Yeah, and so then it gets even more complicated because it's one thing to jump to a different time, like a different century. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to jump, so that's completely, especially on this notion of, because, okay, oh my God, if I'm having 100 lifetimes, then I'm having all those 100 lifetimes at one time, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that's one thing, and that's already mind-boggling enough, yes? Like to think about, like the 1942 me, the one from Asia in 1600s, etc. So that's already mind-boggling enough. So let's say that I have to keep track of 100 different dimensions, like just me alone, I'm in 100 different dimensions. But let's take this lifetime. And we say, like, if we want to rewind or fast forward, well, how many different dimensions in the one lifetime is there then? Oh my God! Like, is it 1 second? Each 1 second? Because if I want to go back to an hour ago and undo that stupid thing that I did or whatever it is that ruined my life, you know what I mean? Then I'm staying here. You know what I mean? In a way, I'm staying here, but I'm only like going back, and so that becomes really a mind trip for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it becomes like, because now we're talking millions of different dimensions. If each second is a different dimension, you get what I'm saying?
It's mind-boggling. Yeah.
It becomes so complex that it becomes like. Then that's the point in time when I usually go, I can't anymore. Like I can't. It just becomes so much. You know what I mean? Like I have a general idea of what it is, and then but to follow each thing, like it becomes too much, way too much. And then I have to say, would be exceptionally difficult to dial into a very specific, maybe that's where and why a machine is somehow needed, you know what I mean? Is to dial into that exact moment of that exact lifetime or that exact dimension or whatever it is that you're trying to travel to, whether that be the future or the past or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then I wonder too, how easy it would be to get back from where you came, assuming that you do want to come back. There might be some people that just want to stay there, kind of like that movie Somewhere in Time. He just is kind of mesmerized by that woman, and it doesn't really, if I'm remembering correctly, it doesn't really show how he gets to the other dimension of time where she is, but I think a lot of it was just the power of his mind and being so open to wanting to meet this woman. But then he came back and he didn't want to come back. So it would be interesting. I have a feeling, some people have probably been doing it, but we don't know the secrets,
Well, and that's, going back to that thing which you talked about before, which is this Mandela effect, and using the explanation that little boy has given, it becomes possible in his theory that even for one person, something so upsetting or jarring can happen that I slip into a different dimension, right? And so that the idea is that this is where maybe in that dimension why I remember it as Berenstein Bears and not Berenstain Bears, you know what I mean, and that kind of a thing. And it becomes kind of like that. If that's a situation where are you voluntarily, like the kid suggested something so traumatic or something like this might happen to a group of people or a person that slips them into the very next dimension. And that everything could be pretty much the same, except just some very, very subtle differences. And so they might not even realize, you know what I mean? Except for that they'll be puzzled because how come I could have swore that it was, Berenstain Bears and not Berenstein Bears or whatever, right? But then this premise of if you're intentionally going to a different dimension and things are a little bit more happening there, I could see the temptation to stay. And like you say, how many people are actually, doing that? I wonder of all the missing people, like, how many have been alien abducted? How many have been government abducted? How many have been, how many have intentionally traveled to some other dimension, and stayed? You know what I mean?
How many trips through time unintentionally, but they were at the right place at the right time to get them in that other place,
Right. Yeah. So
there's a portal or it's just a mental energy. I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah, all those things are possible. So I guess this, and we probably can be trusted with that, really, that ability, that innate ability, because like I'd probably be long gone from this lifetime. You know what I mean? I'd be wanting to be somewhere else, anywhere else. And, so we wouldn't maybe make responsible choices, if we were left on our own to do that. You know what I'm saying?
But who's to say the people that are currently utilizing it, have been utilizing it, are benevolent people either, Hard to say. Maybe they're keeping it secret because they're working it against us. I mean, who knows? You'd think if it were really something that would benefit mankind, we would be knowing about it more. I don't know. So many stories about it, though, and I appreciate you telling your story tonight. Thanks for that. That's fascinating. That would be, wow. I don't know how I'd react to that. I'd be wondering about it for a long time, I think. That's really
because where you wonder, because a few little weird things have happened to me along that highway, and so that you wonder, like, did I miss that time? Was I just like so in a trance, and nothing at all crazy happened at all, other than that I was in autopilot and everything else, or was there an ET abduction or visitation? Did I wind up driving through some little rip in time and coming out the other end, and somehow, you know what I mean, like the time period that I was in there, was it like accidental, and what was going on there, or what? Like, there's so many different possibilities, right, of
right.
what. So it could be like nothing, and it could be something very, very, very cool, but there's no way to prove anything, really. And so it's just when I like those things because they make me think, you know what I mean? And as I always say, like, my first objective is to find a real world, everyday, reasonable explanation for it. You know what I mean? Like, so to debunk any paranormal or metaphysical thing, as being the cause. But yeah, I mean, your point is well taken, which is that just about anything good that gets discovered, once in the hands of certain governments, becomes weaponized and kept.
We don't know about it, yeah. No. Or we might know about it later.
Yeah, well, they say, like, there will come a day where all truth will be, and as with like I said so many times, I just feel that we're evolving with more intuition, fine-tuning our own intuition, because we have to.
Right.
We have to, because we can't believe our eyes anymore. We can't believe our ears anymore. Everything can be edited. They can flash a freaking, what do you call, holographic image or whatever. They could show me a tank rolling down the street, and it would look just as real as anything.
Right.
And so we can't believe anything. Got to see it to believe it, and now even seeing it, you can't be sure.
Yeah, I was going to say we still have to kind of question that even.
So I think out of absolute necessity, the human being is evolving, with more, and it takes time, and it'll take more time, and maybe not so much time for some people, but I think as a collective, there's an evolution of some kind taking place to enhance intuition at the very least, if not full-blown psychic,
Right.
ability being the end goal, Once that happens, though, once you achieve full-blown psychic, everybody's full-blown. Now you have no secrets anywhere, you know what I mean? Now you have no privacy. So if we have privacy concerns now, you know what I mean?
Right.
What privacy will we ever have, then? Really, At least now I can put a piece of tape over my webcam if I'm going to freak out about that, or whatever, unplug every TV thing, or, like, I don't really want to be that way, right? And so everybody will become, now is it going to be like, I saw a movie one time, and it's like this, they take these certain people, and they live their existence in some little pod, and their whole interaction with the world is through this computer that they have in front of them, and they don't actually physically go out. And so does that happen to human beings? Nobody goes anywhere. Everybody's compartmentalized, and that's your only way to block everything off, and people running around in tinfoil hats, or what you know what I mean? Because it could be dangerous to have every single person on the planet be have psychic, full-blown psychic abilities, right?
Yeah, well, everyone is psychic now. It's just a lot of people don't realize it, so they don't use it because they don't believe it.
Well, even those of you guys that are psychic, you still cannot, like, read my mind and read, like, what I'm thinking about you right now. It's not mind reading per se, and so it's channeling and it's not. what you're doing most often, you're receiving from the universe. So whether from your spirit guide, whether from your dead people, from the universe itself, you're not generally drilling into my brain and extracting it direct, right?
Right.
You're receiving it from the universe. So if I'm sending it out to the universe and you're pulling it down in from, it's like a game of catch in a way, but the universe being the filter, or something like that, perhaps. I don't know. But I wouldn't feel comfortable in a world full of absolutely 100% psychic existence. That would be awful. I think that would be awful.
I don't know. It would be interesting, that's for sure. It would take a little bit of getting used to.
Well, and I suppose as it happens, that's the idea of evolution, is it happens over time anyway, so that you have no choice but to, you know what I mean? It's almost like seeing the little kid. You go like, oh my God, like look how quickly you've grown. Yet the person that you only see a kid once a year, you're like, oh my God, you're a completely different person. But the ones that live with that kid every day haven't really noticed the change in such a dramatic way as you have, right?
Right.
So if these changes are going to take place among human beings, then it's going to be over such a time where it won't be today I have my private thoughts, but tomorrow that's it. I'm laid bare for every single living thing around me. And not even around me, theoretically anywhere in the world, anywhere in the universe, anywhere in the multiverse. Right?
Powerful stuff, yeah.
And so then, in a way, the world could be safer in a way, you know what I mean? If everybody has the same ability, then I guess nobody can be victimized by it, right?
Right. That's the hope anyway.
But, still, that means you can never, think oh my God, stop being such a bitch. You know what I mean? When and you can't have that private thought to yourself about somebody. Who's looking at you and going, yeah, I will not stop being a bitch. And stop thinking about me that way. You've been thinking about me behind my back. Now we're like, you've been talking about me behind my back. We'll be like, how dare you think that about me? You know what I mean? How dare you think that about me? And so anyway, I don't know what that would do to human relationships. It might be too much. And then there would be no procreation. Nobody would be able to stand each other. And then the human beings would be wiped off the face of the earth, Mind you, there's probably enough sperm and eggs in all the sperm banks in the world to keep human beings, test tube born forever. You know what I mean?
For quite a while anyway, I would think.
For quite a while. Well, because each test tube, though, that you make, each baby and each new person, each new male you make and each new female you make, you have to become donors then. Egg and sperm donors, you know what I mean? And then maybe there are no couples, and maybe each person is just goes shopping to pick up a kid, like you go to the SPCA.
That'd be funky, wouldn't it?
I want one with red hair and blah blah blah, and you just you dial it up, you order it on the internet even. You know what I mean?
Have bidding wars online.
Well, that would be mass, because oh my God, there already are the illegal trafficking of human beings, right? But gosh, who knows down in the future what the heck?
That could be the norm in the future.
Yeah. Maybe they're not allowed to sell a live human being, and they can only deal in sperm and eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you have to buy it. You have to buy it before it's before it's born or whatever. I don't know either. I don't want to be around for that. I really don't want to be around for that. Okay, so Sherry, you got your mic there, and Boo Boo's there. So I don't know, are you just listening, Sherry, or did you want to pipe in, or should we take a song break quick and then figure out what's going on?
That'll work.
Okay, so hopefully, tell me, you guys, if the music is good or bad or what, okay? When it starts, if it starts, please start.
Got out of town on a boat from the southern islands, sailing to reach before a following sea. She was making for the trades on the outside, and the downhill run to Papa'ete. Off the wind on this heading lies the Marquesas. You got 80 feet of a waterline, nicely making way. In the noisy bar in Avalon, I tried to call you, but on the midnight watch I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I had fallen. Spirits are using me, larger voices calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. Around I have been around the world, looking for that foreign girl who knows love getting good, and you know it will. When you see the Southern Cross for the first time, you understand now why you came this way. 'Cause the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of a coming day. So I'm sailing for tomorrow, my dreams are dying, and my love is an anchor tied with a silver chain. I have my ship, and all her flags are flying. She is all that I have left, and music is her name. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, larger voices calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. I have been around the world, looking for that foreign girl who knows love getting good, and you know it will, and you know it will. We cheated and we lied and we tested, and we never failed to fail. It was the easiest thing to do. You will survive being bested. Somebody find will come along, make me so good about loving you in the Southern Cross.
So we're back, and I will do a quick shout out, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. So we have Christine. Hello, Christine. How are you? Diana is here. Diane, how was that? Music is better. Good. I did a couple of little things, and so hopefully maybe that simple thing I did covers it, but I have a feeling I could still do a little bit more fine-tuning. Anyway, Diane in Canada. Diana is our guest. Marie, how are you? Mike, how are you doing? Rachel, of course, is there. Sorry we couldn't help you get your mic going tonight. Boo Boo is listening in by phone, and me. Amy was there. Hopefully she's feeling okay. She wasn't feeling all that good yesterday. So let's go get... Now, Sherry, were you just listening, or what are you doing? Okay, just listening. Gotcha. And did Amy get her AC unit? I doubt it. It's probably still in her car, Mike. It's probably still in her car. So let's go get Diana there. And welcome back. Diana. Maybe Diana's not back. Did you mute your phone, Diana? Uh-oh. I cannot hear you.
Hello.
There you are. I do not hear you. La, 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 la. There you are now. There you are. So one of these days we'll have to do a little bit of, the cryptozoology stuff, but most of it is so bogus. I always am more interested in debunking that crap. People running around afraid of black-eyed children and all this kind of crazy stuff. And the old chupacabra. And usually I find that with the animal ones, so often what it is that even if that animal or whatever is anomaly is true, it's usually like some kind of a genetic defect or something like this that has happened. Every now and then it can be attributed to, a species that everybody thought was extinct, and then there's a sighting, and it actually turns out that, there's a couple of them left or something like that. They just haven't been seen in 100 years or something like that. And so, but, as to most of them, although I still am a little bit leaning in favor, as ridiculous as it might sound, I still lean a little bit in favor of Bigfoot being, real and an interdimensional being. I don't know why I would feel that way about Bigfoot and, say not, the Ogopogo or the Loch Ness Monster. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I would. I'd love to know more about the Sasquatch. I've connected with a friend of a friend on Facebook, and he has a show where he regularly talks about his experiences going out and experiencing, these people, beings, whatever you call it, and I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know. For a long time, I've thought, what's the big deal about Sasquatch? There's so many people saying they've seen people, creatures, whatever, that, look like this. Who's to say they're not? I mean, do we always have to have the media, which lies to us anyway? Do we really need them or somebody else outside of us to tell us they're real or not real? I don't know.
Right.
To me, it seems like we got a pretty big planet here, so I could see why there might be some races, whatever you want to call it, lack of better word for Sasquatch, that would want to kind of keep to themselves and keep as much of their world, their natural world, to themselves as they can. Right. And there are some interesting cases of there was this
I'll get more details on it maybe for a future show, but like there was like this little, it was like a short Sasquatch, if you will. Best way. In other words, like a little bit more hairy of a humanoid, but it has much smaller than a human and this and that. And so everybody thought that this was all just bogus and that they like to eat humans or something like that. And then some scientists came across some remains, and it was possible that this was, a real species of some kind. You know what I mean? That was not human, and it was some tribe that was like so far off. And there still are some tribes out there, right, that have never had any contact with the real world. Well, I shouldn't say the real world, because they're more in the real world than any of us. You know what I mean? Really.
Right.
When they're living off the land like that and everything, their subsistence is based off of the way it was meant to be in the first place. But that's as real as it gets, I guess, But so there are some tribes out there that have managed to stay away and be so they're still, quite, and it's a huge, how much, land has been uncharted even, like every square inch of the earth maybe hasn't been touched by human feet, right?
Oh, I'm sure there's some areas that haven't been.
And so, and they say, like with the ocean, for example, is it the Indian Ocean? That it's just like so deep that there's just like a huge percentage of the ocean that's still been unexplored because there's nothing that can go this deep.
Yeah, and who knows?
Who knows what's there? Exactly right. And so now and then they come across some animals that they thought were extinct or that have never been identified before. And that's kind of exciting in a way,
I think so. Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
What bugs me about the Sasquatch thing is, you got the Sasquatch hunters, and their way is they're gonna kill the damn thing or catch the damn thing to prove its existence, and like this is not.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's so human. Oh my God, I hate the human beings. You know what I mean? I hate human beings. So the human race. Conquer, kill, control. Conquer, kill, control. It just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. And that's why I love so much about like the Planet of the Apes story. It kind of turns it all around on the humans, eh?
Yep. That's why they're still making movies about it. It's a story that's still popular because of what it is.
Mhm. Indeed. Yeah. So maybe we'll have to. So much of the cryptozoology crap is just that. It's crap, and it's just like designed to, I don't know, exploit even some of the crypto museums and stuff. It's just like such bogus crap in there. You know what I mean? And so it's just another money grab or something else, But I love the scientific analysis of things that they come across, and I don't mind a good mystery, you know what I mean, like Sasquatch or this or that. But like these things like the shadow people and the black-eyed children and all this crap is just like now. Really interesting. There's a show called Into the Badlands. And let me check the chat room and see if is anybody watching? Good night, Sherry. Is anybody watching like Into the Badlands? Has anybody seen that show? I might be the only one. In which case, forget about it. Because for me to try to explain it is
like a Netflix show, or is it on regular?
I don't know. Yeah, it's on regular TV for me, but sometimes those ones are also on Netflix too, or other similar Hulu things or whatever like that. But because here they have these people who, some, and they're very rare, who it's almost like when they're injured, then something happens to them, their eyes go completely black, and now they're superhuman strength and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? But a lot of this is like extreme, martial arts stuff and crazy. It's a crazy. It's a story like of like essentially warlords and barons, basically that kind of a thing. So you got your slave people that do all the work, and your warriors, and it's just like a fight for the land or this or that. But like they're the extreme martial arts stuff like that is pretty crazy. But I was thinking about earlier today, like the ridiculous black-eyed children. I'm like, it's so interesting that these that this show has these. But the thing is like they start with normalize, and then when they're like injured or something like this, then they go black, and now they become outrageously strong and indestructible almost. You know what I mean? And so that was making me think about the black-eyed children. But mostly like the black-eyed, those stories, they drive me crazy. And like they get some of these ones on and the guy's on the big hunt for this or that, and it's just like such a stupid. It's like back, and it was like the History Channel or something, and shame on them. Like they're like, like they would have the TV show Mermaid Found and blah blah blah, and they would like suck people into watching these shows, and there's nothing at the end, a big nothing burger at the end of it. You know what I mean? And it's just also like shit. I don't expect like the History Channel. I don't want to have to mistrust what the History Channel puts on or what the Science Channel puts. You know what I mean? Like maybe what Fox puts. But like there's certain things you want to be able to say that if they're putting it on, then it's like it's verified. It's all it's fact checked and all that kind of stuff. But I got really disappointed. Like the whole, there was like two. They did these and they hyped them all up. Like mermaid found, and they hype, and then there's really nothing. I'm gonna say like History Channel or something. Mermaid found. History Channel. Let's see, was it Mermaids? The body found. So you could read about that on the Wikipedia. An Animal Planet has watchful episodes and more. Fact check: Mermaids, the body found on Snopes, right? And the lasting damage of fake documentaries. Like, here, let me read this. The lasting damage of fake documentaries like Mermaids Found, right? So let's see what this the piece is originally. Okay, if National NOAA, what is NOAA? Is lying to us about the existence of mermaids, then they're definitely lying to us about climate change. So now, that's the whole thing. Now, whoever it was that was putting these shows on, see, now you bring doubt about everything, and that bugs me. Anyways, it was August 2014, and I was flying home from the 3rd International Marine Conservation Congress in Glasgow, Scotland, where I just chaired a session of the impact of fake documentaries on the public understanding of science. When my seatmate, a 5th grade school teacher, found out that I'm a marine biologist, she decided to share this insight with me. She was referring to the show Mermaids, the Body Found, and Mermaids, the New Evidence, a series of Animal Planet specials that aired in 2012 and 2013. Mermaid, the New Evidence was at the time of airing the most successful show in Animal Planet's history. The conceit that mermaids were real and that scientists from the National Oceanographic Atmospheric Administration, so that's NOAA, were actively hiding their existence from the world. A few dedicated scientists, hunted and harassed by government agents, And at one point, the footage literally shows men in black removing evidence from a lab. We're fighting to expose the truth. So this is your old, they're hiding something, the government is trying to keep it secret, blah, blah, blah. The shows were fake, though you could be forgiven if you didn't realize that. Animal Planet, like many Discovery Communications properties, trades on its reputation for providing educational nature documentaries and lifestyle reality programs. The marketing for mermaids leaned heavily on that reputation. Meanwhile, the disclaimer shown during the end credits flashed on screen in the tiny font for barely 3 seconds. Mermaids was a success, and Discovery launched a series of compelling yet fabricated documentaries to capitalize on the ratings boom, including a pair of shows reporting on the continued existence of Megalodon, which is a giant distinctively extinct shark species, as well as old shows about old Hitler and a submarine, a monster shark that sunk ferries and fishing vessels in South Africa. Discovery opened Shark Week 2013, its single most popular annual event, with Megalodon, the monster shark lives. Unlike works of pure fiction, the stories were framed around real events and real people and institutions. Submarines blamed a real ferry accident in which several passengers lost their lives on a made-up shark. The search and rescue operators who performed admirably in their response to the accident had to issue a release disavowing Discovery Communications. Actual shark scientists were looped into the Shark Week narrative, often filmed without full knowledge of the theme and purpose of the documentary. And NOAA, of course, was directly accused of hiding evidence about the existence of mermaids. NOAA was so inundated with complaints that it had to issue its own press release declaring that mermaids were not real and that there was no evidence of their existence. Partially or entirely fabricated nature documentaries aren't a new development. Documentarians have thrived off manufactured moments since the birth of the format. Nanook of the North, a 1922 silent film that captures the daily life of an Inuk man in the Canadian Arctic, is often considered to be the first feature-length documentary. Later interviews revealed that significant parts of the film had been staged and bore little similarity to the lives of Inuit hunters at the time. Disney's Academy Award-winning White Wilderness, a 1958 feature that explored wildlife in the high Arctic, famously featured a scene of lemmings so driven with migratory frenzy that they hurled themselves off of a cliff into the freezing sea. Despite later revelations that, far from documenting natural behavior, the scene was staged and filmmakers chased the animals off of the cliff. The lemmings continues to endure as a metaphor for blindly following a crowd to self-destructive ends. Even the classic and fondly remembered nature program Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom has come under scrutiny for staging scenes that resulted in animal cruelty complaints. Discovery Communications hasn't been spared these accusations either. In a 4-part investigation, Christy Wilcox, a scientist and writer, documented how Venom Hunters, a Discovery Channel show about amateur snake handling, contained animal abuse, permit violations, and misrepresentations. Other shows have also been exposed over the past few years for egregious animal welfare violations. These kinds of programs muddy the waters of education-based television. In the case of documentaries like White Wilderness, they can actively and seemingly permanently distort our perception of the natural world, or, as in Nanook of the North, disenfranchise modern communities by painting them as quaintly primitive. In the numerous cases of animal abuse, they cause active harm to the wildlife, about which they are ostensibly attempting to educate the public. And the bold and outright fabrications of shows like Mermaid erodes the public's trust in government and scientific organizations. By framing the villain in these productions as real, often non-partisan institutions like the NOAA, they don't just direct resources away from the agency's actual work by forcing it to respond to a phony controversy. They lend weight to other campaigns aimed at discrediting those organizations. In the United States, the active, well-funded movement to deny the scientific consensus on global climate is adept at capitalizing on manufactured controversy by calling into question the motives and methods of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, an organization responsible for studying the effects of climate change on the United States coasts. Discovery provided validation for this anti-science movement and created an ecosystem ripe for exploitation by the merchants of doubt, committed to undermining scientific consensus. Unfortunately, major cable networks have vastly greater reach than all but the biggest research institutes. This makes it incredibly difficult for scientists to mount a proportional response when their disciplined research area or even their own lab and research are used for fodder in these fabricated documentaries. Though media empires like Discovery Communications have a reach that far exceeds the average citizen, social media and other web-based platforms have provided a venue through which knowledgeable parties can respond to this disinformation and boosts the voices of subject experts who can respond directly to false, misleading claims. Following the first airing of Mermaids, The Body Found, my website, Southern Fried Science, began a concerted effort to respond to that particular flavor of fake documentary. David Schiffman and I published a guide to how scientists can respond and, more importantly, prepare in the event that they find their research misrepresented through documentary and reality programs that are fabricated either wholly or in part. There is no easy solution, and the success of many of these shows means that the fake documentary phenomenon is here to stay. There is hope. After receiving significant criticism for its programming, Discovery's head of programming announced in 2015 that the company would phase out these kinds of programming, at least for Shark Week. But lasting damage to the public's trust in the science has already been dealt. And so here, I'll give you guys the link to that. And this was that article by Andrew David Thaler. And that's a very interesting article. So there. And it killed us some time. So they're there. And this is the whole problem with all of this. It's happening in politics. It's happening everywhere. And it's like the people, these people, like, and it's like all backwards, because so many times it's like the people that are trying to get you to distrust the government are the ones that themselves are not trustworthy. And they're adding to the chaos of the world by successfully causing so many people to distrust. Now, should the government be trusted on everything? Hell no. Absolutely not. Does the government keep secrets? Sure. And sometimes is it maybe even important that they do? I would even give them that. You know what I mean? But there's just a wholesale, absolute, and they've won, because this is how a guy like Donald Trump gets elected. You know what I mean? It's how a guy like Donald Trump gets elected. They have muddied the water so much and enough that people would think that getting Donald Trump as a president would actually improve anything. Instead, they hired a pathological, psychopathic liar, in my opinion, to be the president of the country. And that's how all the fake crap that goes on out there is harming everybody. Nobody trusts, I'm always about, like, every time there's a major shooting or anything, like, it doesn't take but milliseconds before they're out there with it's a red flag, a false flag, it's the government did it to get this or to do that or to blah, blah, and those are not real victims. They're all actors. Nobody was killed. There was no shooting. But, oh, my God. And it just would drive you insane. And so it effectively splits people. You have, people like me that my first assumption is not everything is a conspiracy, It's not my first assumption. And I remember for a number of years there, every freaking tornado or every hurricane was HARP. I'm like, oh my God, you guys! Like before HARP was around, like there was tornadoes and there was, Now, is the severity of some of these storms maybe increasing as a result of could HARP be doing certain things? Yes. Also, could the severity of some of the tornadoes be caused by global warming? Do you think? Maybe. I don't know, but my first thought is not that the government is starting every hurricane so that they can kill a number of their own people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Drives me crazy. So anyway, okay, well, we're a little bit early to go, but unless you have anything else.
No, that would actually work for me. Suddenly I have a cough, and I don't know why, and I apologize for that if it was coming through.
Not a problem. So, I double dog dare you between now and, let's see, next time, which will be July 2nd, to wander down to your nearest, you don't need your team. I mean, if you can find a couple of them to go with you, fine, but don't wait for them, you know what I mean? I would just be interested in your own personal experience of going through the cemetery with a specific question, psychic question in mind that you would have, which is this the right body for this grave? Is it for this headstone? Is this is there a body here? Is it the right body? And see what you come up with psychically.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, I can do that. That's what some of our first outings were at public parks and cemeteries. We found some cool stuff from far, far away type thing.
Right, and you may find something else entirely different happens. That is, you know what I mean. That would be very cool. But it'd be like I'm getting the idea. I'm getting a feeling that if you go do that, there's going to be a case of you're going to be particularly drawn to like a little boy's headstone. I hesitate to say grave, but headstone.
Okay.
And I shouldn't have said that because now I've maybe put that on you. I should have written it down and told somebody else. You know what I mean? To keep it pure. But anyway. I think it might be interesting for you to go do.
Sounds good.
So there's your field trip assignment, and you can do the book report next show.
Now, I'll have to pick a cemetery or even the town for the cemetery. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing a lot of travel. In fact, that's how I got on the time thing because I went to a 1940s ball in Boulder, Colorado over the weekend, and it was so powerful, just the energy of people being there, and everyone was dressed up in 1940s style, and it was interesting to watch the different groups of people interacting together. It was a very friendly atmosphere. It was just really, I don't want to say creepy because it wasn't creepy at all, but it was so different from what I'm used to out there and what I expected it to be, I guess. I knew it would be a lot of fun with the music and everything, but it was just really interesting how people carried themselves differently in thinking about that time and wearing those pieces of clothing from that time.
Well, and then you wonder, like metaphysically speaking, if this is inviting to some spirits who lived during that time, because they could be attracted by the music and by the energy of, you know what I mean, this kind of a gathering.
Oh, yeah.
That would be interesting to think that, maybe, and then maybe their energy, is contributing to this sort of way that you're talking about, how it seemed that people's way of carrying themselves even was slightly different or, whatever, in consideration of the time of the era.
I felt like there were a lot of spirits. Maybe this had been the 10th year, so there might have been some spirits there that had been to this ball before, but I felt there were spirits of people that had lived during that time period that were hanging out there.
Right. Yeah, probably right. and that they would be, maybe there's even some earthbounds that are stuck around, and then they just think, oh, there's another party on, so it must be Friday night. And they just think that it's, only since last week or whatever that, there was another party. Interesting. Okay, well, so everybody, I'm probably going to do some just like testing out music and stuff like this tomorrow, informal show. And so keep an eye on the Facebook or just check the IntuiTalks.com site for that. And we won't be recording, but I may be trying to get some live listeners to give me some feedback on, run through some of the songs, and just play a bunch of the songs at different volume, different scenarios, and see if I can, get everything on my end working properly. So thank you very much, Dianna, and we will see you. I guess that between now and then, a couple more days, it's going to be summer solstice, and so there we go. Then it's all downhill. The days get shorter, and winter's coming.
I hate it.
It's like that day. I'm all like, no, I don't. Like, if I wanted to stop time, I would stop time on June 21st.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Nope.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, as long as June 21st of that year wasn't like 120 degrees, like if it was like a lovely 80 degrees, freeze time right there, never ever changed, and this remains as it is forever now. That would be good. So anyway, okay, so we will see you next time. You take good care, travel safely, and everyone else will be back just for a little fun experiment time thing tomorrow. Okay, guys? So with that said, peace out, everybody. Take care. Thank you very much for coming.